Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. The altcoin market is doing great today, and I think it's worth having a look at how we are doing with Bitcoin dominance, USDT dominance, have a look at the healthiness of the rally, and doing also a health check of the top market cap coins, including Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, XRP, Link, BNB, DOGE, ADA, and TRON. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. Guys, thanks so much for all the likes in the video from the morning. I will really appreciate if you go and watch the video about Bitcoin. This video in particular is just going to be about altcoins, but if you have an interest in catching up on the Bitcoin one, is the one you want to be watching. That is a 40-minute full of alpha, pretty much summarizing everything I wanted to say for 4 days that I've been away. And if you watch the video and like it, I will really appreciate it. Let's get it to 600 likes. In this particular video about altcoins, which are always underperforming in terms of likes, it will be awesome if we can get above 10 likes. No, I'm just kidding. Can we get this altcoin video over 600 likes? If we can, that is the best way to come back to work. I want to get started with the Bitcoin dominance. After we had 3 weeks in the red for the Bitcoin dominance with a rejection from around 62% and a move down to 55 roughly, that was awesome in terms of performance for the altcoins because it meant that the cash was rotating from Bitcoin into the altcoins, and that is what's needed for an actual altcoin season. The problem is that that allowed for a very mini short-lived altcoin season. This lasted pretty much from the 2nd of December, and on the 9th of December, 7 days after it was done, at least when it comes to the altcoin season index. That needs to be above 75 to be in an altcoin season. Since then, we have come down to 43, and right now we are bouncing off that level. I think this is a very healthy level to bounce. Remember, we have these two levels of resistance at 47, a little bit extended if you ask my opinion. I would have liked to stop at 47 because that's precisely the tops that we were seeing in September and July. But still, it's good to bounce from 43 as long as we now continue on the trajectory back up. With the rejection from the ascending wedge right there, we went inside, but we saw that rejection, which is really healthy. Again, supporting this idea that cash should be rotating into altcoins. This will be my first chart to check, to double check such a thing. And this is looking like the perfect recipe for continuation of the Bitcoin dominance in this direction, which is what we want for the altcoins to perform. For example, in this area, that is the best altcoin season that we have ever had, rotating from 73% to 39%, and it lasted for 168 days. I'm not sure we're gonna get something that magnificent this time, but it will be nice if the dominance was able at the very least to go into the 40s, slightly below 50%. At that point, if you are already now in a position, you should see life-changing returns. When it comes to the USDT dominance, you can see that is mimicking what we were expecting to see here for continuation of the altcoin season, which is a rejection from the trend line from 2018 back down. And I'm expecting that the altcoin season, or the performance of altcoins, if you want to be more precise, remains very good as long as we are in this trajectory shown in here. Basically below the trend line and not crossing aggressively to the upside is what we want to see. That is basically copying what happened in the past from 2021 early into where we are now, and just placing it slightly lower, because if you remember, this trend line was holding us from 2018, but in 2024 November we went slightly below it, which is not bearish, it's actually something bullish. It means that the USDT dominance has become weaker. We're going to have to find different ways of tracking stable coins instead of using just the USDT dominance, because if you know, in Europe regulations are pushing back with USDT. So I will expect that there will be a significant rotation of stable coins into different alternatives, in which case this chart might not be the best way to track performance of altcoins anymore. When it comes to the performance of Total 3, you can see that we bounce on support at 846 billion. We have formed in here some sort of bull flag. Our target is 1.23 trillion, but in the past, when we did the same exercise with a Fibonacci extension, in 2021 we got into the extension expectation of 3 that is way beyond targeting just 1.618, almost double that. I am not expecting necessarily to reach that level of 3, which is located at the moment at 3.61 trillion, but I think 2.5 trillion is definitely doable. When it comes to others versus BTC, which is a chart that I've been tracking consistently because this spread shows the performance of coins that are below the top 10 market cap against Bitcoin, basically excluding very large caps like Ethereum and Solana that really can change the perspective. If they perform, they're so heavy that they don't show what really the lower caps are doing. So I prefer to track it with others versus BTC. And in November 1st, we saw this breakout around here, and that was telling us with this green candle that what we should be expecting is a rotation from Bitcoin into altcoins, specifically below the market cap top 10. And we are in the beginning of January, and you can see that the RSI is putting a new higher high, or at least that is what's been happening in just these 3 days of January. Let's hope that that is going to continue. At least it's in the right direction of the breakout. And in the spread chart, we can also see that that is in the correct trajectory, because after an indecision candle, if we close January like this or further beyond, it will just confirm that the breakout is a healthy one. Ethereum versus BTC is also giving us some decent good news, and I care a lot about Ethereum against BTC because it shows the top market cap altcoin, and if it performs well, it has the power to drag everything else mimicking it. And you can see that in December 2020, on the weekly, it had an RSI of 40, and then 30, and then even lower 26, and in October we did 28. Since then, we've been on a channel to the upside. Now we have this global resistance in here, and I'm looking forward to break out from there. That might take some time, but once you have one of these global breakouts, you should expect further upside for Ethereum and the rest of the altcoin market. Alright, enough of talking about altcoins in general terms. Let's talk now about TA specifically for these altcoins I have here. And thanks so much for all the requests to do the TA on different coins. I got 50 requests. Unfortunately, I cannot squeeze everything into this video, so I decided in this particular one to go just for top market cap. In the upcoming days, I will be catching up with lower caps, doing some additional TA. I'm gonna pick Ethereum TA where I left it the last time I edited this chart, where we were testing the support after the breakout against $4,000. We were saying that if we lost the support at 3.7, there are different ranges below the price, below that 3,700, that depending on where we stop the pullback is how bullish or how quick we can recover from it. And obviously closing above 3,700 would have been really bullish because that will have confirmed the breakout above this trend line. But I say that it was likely that we go back inside the range and we qualify different ranges in here. For example, if we close right there, that will have been okay for a reversal back up, because very typically when you do a liquidity hunt and you break out above and you come back down and you remain right below that level of resistance for possibly a few candles, that shows that the bulls are still in control and they're gonna do another attempt. That wasn't the case, so we couldn't hold in the okay area. We went one more level lower, closing between 3,500 and 3,000. And we managed to hold right there at the volume weighted moving average. This is this blue line that you can see in there. And I want you to take note, because all the other altcoins, or almost 90% of them, found support more or less at the same area that Ethereum did. Some of them were a bit more bullish, some of them a bit more bearish. That is fine, but Ethereum is still the king, and you can tell that in average the coins are still mimicking Ethereum very closely. I qualify this area with an H that now I cannot remember if I call it "this is hell" or something like that. I will have to watch again that video to remember, but I really didn't want to go back and test this trend line that we have been testing in October. We started in June of 2022, so that's bear market, and last time was in October 2024. That's the last retest and should be the last time that we test that thing. Luckily, so far, we haven't come to the area of H. The area of the end is this one, which will have signified that pretty much there is no more room left for Ethereum to go higher in a very long time. So given that we ended up closing between 3K and 3.5K, I'm expecting a recovery, but not as fast as if we will have closed in the OK or in the B area. We have been seeing slightly more inflows on Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. If you compare these two tables, you can see that even around here, there is negative flows on Bitcoin, but not necessarily the case every day for Ethereum, which is really great. Looking a little bit closer on Ethereum, you can see that the last time that we got rejected closer to the 4K, which is this area in here, we sold out and we found support at 2900. We went back up to 3.5K, and if we couldn't close above 3.5K, we saw a rejection that took us back down into this trend line. So I think that is the pattern that I care the most at the moment. I don't want to see the price of Ethereum closing slightly below 3.5 and 50. Seeing that rejection there puts in the table once again the area of H, the support from this trend line. Closing above 3500 and between 3700, it means that we are preparing once again for a breakout towards the bullish area. The RSI on the weekly for Ethereum still looks healthy. You know, this move down in here after having seen 23 points to the upside on RSI and then just getting 13, it's okay. It's not bad. We haven't undone everything. We are still holding the support of the red line in here. So this still has chances to put a new high above 67. So that is great. Let's go and look into Solana. People get angry when I say this, but Solana has performed less than Ethereum. And you can see it very clearly when looking at the RSI. For example, RSI in here finds supports around 43, and then it doesn't even come to touch the support at 48. It remains strong at 53, leaving a big gap between support and the pivot. Whereas clearly Solana has done less than that, because it not only went to touch the support, but it broke it, and now it seems to be battling with that support as resistance. So if Solana reached this level and then it put a low from there, well, that will be really bad for Solana. What Solana needs to do at the moment is recover above this line and ideally find a way to put a new high. In that way, all this move, super bearish, starting from 18th of November, has a chance of being forgotten by the investors that at the moment are starting to get worried about Solana. I think Solana has a future in everything, but if I'm gonna do TA, I have to do it in an unbiased way, comparing apples with apples and pears with pears. And in this case, I'm comparing RSI performance versus RSI performance on the weekly and telling you that Solana in this area in here has done crap relative to Ethereum. You can also tell that it has been finding support somewhere around the volume weighted moving average on the weekly, but slightly below once again. Now it's having two very good weeks. Hopefully we can close this week above the level of $207. That is the order block in there. We want to start teasing investors that we are due for breaking above the 250, 260. Let's look at the daily RSI on Solana, because I want to put a magnifier glass in here. And what we are seeing on the daily is a global breakout of high quality that happened on the 28th of December. So bottom information was occurring on the 20th of December. We had the breakout on 28th, and we have this big impulsive move of RSI into 58. That is great. If you want to ride that and you're already in a position, place a trend line like this, touching these 3 points on the RSI daily, and be on the lookout for how Solana finds a new pivot in here like this versus doing something like this, because obviously the second one will show that with a high likelihood the breakout is done. The next level of resistance for Solana is roughly around the $225, and we should hopefully close above 208 this week, or somewhere between the 0.5 and the 0.618. That is already bullish. Obviously above 0.618, which is $229, that becomes really bullish, because that's above the golden pocket. AVAX has had a retracement pretty much mimicking what Solana did in here. You can see Solana bouncing around the volume weighted moving average, AVAX doing the same. AVAX needs now to battle with the 44 $47 and hopefully close this week above $39, which was resistance. Closing below that is gonna bring a lot of stress. You can tell in here how many times the level of $39 sells off. Even the previous week was a tough one to close above it, so closing above that 40 removes that fear and opens the door to start breaking above $44, $45 into the $50. When it comes to the RSI weekly healthiness, you can see that the healthiness of AVAX is better than what Solana did in here, breaking down. Both have an impulsive move around the same time. This one managed to get to 71, whereas Solana managed to get also to 71. I got tricked by this area that is higher, but I think there's still room to go as long as we hold the support on the weekly. If you were using my trading style and you saw this on the daily, the RSI on AVAX, you will notice that there is almost a perfect setup from 80 back down to 37 and then the clean breakout in here at 43. And then since then it has been just pushing higher. The moves on the RSI on the daily were kind of anticipating the breakout because we have higher highs in there, double bottom formation, and the neck at 46. I think there's still room to go with AVAX. But you know my preference, I do not like to take trades when the train has already departed. I like to spot either prior to the breakout, the quality in this area, or the breakout itself and then manage my risk. When there's still room to go, what I mean is if you are in a position, you may want to consider continuing rallying and extending those profits a little bit further, maybe with the help of a trailing stop loss. I never mean enter now in a position just because there is further upside, because the moment you enter in here, if there is a pullback, your risk reward ratio is not really great at this point in time. And I'm talking about swing trading. I'm not talking about holding for the longer term, the rest of 2025, for example. If you just want to hold DCA into the coin that you like, spread your entries across multiple days, multiple weeks, rather than entering in one entry. XRP, relative to what we've seen in RSIs of other coins, looks fantastic. This is just super bullish for XRP. You can see that we had the breakout, the retest, and this impulsive move that went into 92 that now is retracing barely to 72, which is still extremely bullish. You know what they say, RSI above 70, you are with the highest momentum. So with the retracement and staying above 70, that means that there's still a huge appetite for XRP to continue rallying. It could start producing various divergences with higher prices and lower momentums on the RSI, but relative to the previous coins that we just saw, this is the one that at the moment looks with the highest momentum. And we were talking about this top information in here that managed only to get to the $19, which is more or less what we wanted to see on XRP to say, yes, the bulls are going to stay in control. They're not going to manage to get to the lower target of this formation, which is from top to the neck. It should have been sending us back into $1.5. But instead, thanks to testing the $2 and remaining above it, it managed to do another breakout upside, quite large to be honest, because this is a bull flag. And if I'm gonna do the typical calculation of taking the high from here and placing it like this, it is pointing to $4.4. I'm no longer holding XRP. I got no interest to have it in my wallet, but that is where it's pointing at the moment. The breakout on the daily, let's see how many days ago it happened. That breakout got confirmed on the 31st of December. Since then, there is 1, 2, 3 days that there's been just upside for XRP. So I think this should be calling now for a pivot low at some point, and hopefully after that pivot, respecting it to the upside so it can have a safe journey into the $4 that is targeting. Let's go with Link. Link was one of those coins that also found almost perfect bounce on the volume weighted moving average on this retracement, and hopefully on the weekly is going to be able to close above $22, $23, because the previous week it couldn't manage to do that, so it got sent back into volume weighted moving average, getting closer to that $19 that is supposed to act as support. Closing above $23 opens the door to go into $27 area in here, and then after that the $33, which is the order block from the beginning of the bear market. Looking at the price action on the daily, this is starting to look like a breakout. Let me see if we have a breakout on the RSI. Indeed, we have one. I'm just spotting it as we record. You can tell in here that there is this pivot, that pivot, and right now the daily RSI on Link is testing that as a resistance. Obviously, what we want to see on the daily is a close above this trend line, not a rejection and back down. So monitor where Link is closing tonight, because it could be providing another rally. Just using this flag in here, we are more or less targeting $41 if things play out well for the altcoins in general. BNB had a breakout in December 2nd, but then once Bitcoin had the retracement, BNB had to come back below the previous range on the 16th of December, but now is pushing higher once again. Unfortunately, we are going to have to move the expectation, the challenge a little bit further away to RSI 64 on the weekly to see that breakout playing out, because after coming back into the previous range, we just cannot claim that this is a breakout anymore. It's good that we are respecting the support in here, so when we got sent back down, we held it at RSI 54. That is great. So for BNB to break out on the weekly basis, it needs to go beyond 65 RSI. So let's see where is that in the price. That is currently located at $763. When it comes to volume weighted moving average, BNB is kind of abusing it because it's been really tracking every single week with one touch of it. And it's also the case in this area in here in November, December in 2023 before it went off to the races. So hopefully all this testing in here eventually is gonna send BNB in a similar rally in this way, leaving behind slightly the volume weighted moving average like we did in this area in there in January, February, April in 2024, but in this case in 2025. Looking at DOGE, you can see that is one of those coins once again that is respecting the volume weighted moving average right there as the support. And I really respect the volume weighted moving average because it's using volume to average down the moves of the price. And you know, the volume is something that we should always consider in different ways, with the volume profile, in the MAs, or when using money flow. There's different ways of using volume. So far it's bouncing off thanks to it. Looking at the RSI on the weekly, you can see that after having this impressive move of 45 points up on the RSI just in 3 months, which is really crazy, the retracement from there back down is only 28 and is testing the support on our trend line. So it's in an area of support, or it was a couple of weeks ago testing support. Now it's bouncing off that already, moving from the lows 45% already up. The next area that needs to be challenged is 44 cents. Those are the highs from 2021 that we have 2 times consecutive, and then after that the highest closing price at 57 cents and 73 the previous all-time high. One incredible sign of strength that you can monitor during this week on DOGE is set a reminder or an alert somewhere for DOGE holding above 34 cents. That is the current resistance that we just broke. I think at the moment we are battling with these wicks in there, 1, 2, and 3, located at 37 cents. That is currently work in progress, but I really don't mind that much if we close at 37. What I do care is that we close above 34, because we couldn't do it the previous week, and this week is being bullish for altcoins, so DOGE will show a lot of strength if it manages this week to achieve that. And ADA today is doing really great, really great. It bounced off once again from the volume weighted moving average. And we talk about the volume weighted moving average in all of these coins when these were just starting the retracement. And I say it will be great to bounce off from the confluence of that moving average and levels of previous resistance. And we are precisely doing that with ADA. And I think that is helping a lot to have this bounce back above $1, which is also a psychological level. And people now are starting to fear that they're going to be left behind on the trade on ADA, and many people might enter late in here. This is a bull flag on the weekly, acting as a retest of the breakout, pretty far away from the support and the breakout area, so it's quite bullish in my opinion. TRON once again bouncing off the volume weighted moving average. It's incredible. They are all copying each other, doing the same kind of thing, and TRON needs to do the same thing. It needs to break about 26 cents. That was previous support, previous resistance, resistance, and closing above it shows continuation for TRON. TRON is in price exploration at the moment, in the middle of a parabolic move. It has made highs of 45 cents. We can look at the daily on the other side, and I think it is having a breakout for continuation. We can place it however we want. Really, in here we don't have to be perfect, but you can tell that the RSI has reset from 94 to 45 on the daily, and now is heading up with higher highs and higher lows. That is a breakout. I think one important level that I would like to see TRON reconquering is after closing this level above 26. Let's assume that by Sunday, on the closing price of the weekly candle, we managed to get above 26 cents. Then the next one is 32 cents, a closing price on the weekly above that. That will mean that all this moving here wasn't just a pump and dump, but actually the price exploration will continue going forward. Guys, if you want to trade any of these altcoins on a high quality exchange, I have two amazing options for you with the highest exclusive rewards. Bybit and OKX are my first choices of exchanges when it comes to functionality, number of altcoins available, future perpetual contracts available as well, trading bots, and all of that. Bybit, using the link in the description, is offering 30,000 in rewards and the lowest fees to trade, whereas OKX offers 60,000 in rewards if you use the link in the description as well. But if you want to stay away from needing KYC and all the hassle, I got two non-KYC exchanges that you can give it a try. The best of using a non-KYC exchange is not needing to use a VPN to trade, not needing to do the KYC, opening as many accounts as you want with different emails, not having issues with withdrawing and depositing crypto. And if you use the links in the description, you can claim the bonuses shown in the instructions in the screen and get the lowest fees to trade. Why offering two non-KYC exchanges? Very simple. In some locations, you may find or may not that bluffing requires still VPN. So I will say give it a try, open your account, install it on your mobile phone, and if it's asking you for KYC or if it's asking you for VPN for some reason, then just go ahead and try my alternative 2bit. Once you confirm you're good to go without needing the VPN, then you can deposit and claim your bonuses. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Remember to hit the like and leave a comment down below. That is really not just helping the channel to continue growing, but also it keeps me really motivated to see that you guys appreciate the content. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.